Today is Tuesday, June 2nd. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are continuing Chapter 10 to Employers. We will read 137. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Tradition 7. I believe we're beginning that today. We'll read page 160. And of course, read the 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this beautiful Tuesday morning, my friends. Life is good over here. Oh man, it's a nice and steamy one this Tuesday. Might be a pool day for the family. That's always good. And just happy to be alive and sober one more day. So with that, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from yesterday's reading, in Chapter 10 to Employers, we are hearing this first-hand account of this business owner who employed over 6,600 men. And he talked about two examples yesterday, some tragic examples of alcoholic deaths, both suicide. And still we're going to hear another experience on page 137. Still another experience. A woman's voice came faintly over a long distance from Virginia. She wanted to know if her husband's company insurance was still in force. 4 days before, he had hanged himself in his woodshed. I had been obliged to discharge him for drinking, though he was brilliant, alert, and one of the best organizers I'd ever known. Here were 3 exceptional men, lost to this world because I didn't understand alcoholism as I do now. What irony. I became an alcoholic myself. And but for the intervention of an understanding person, I might have followed in their footsteps. My downfall cost the business community unknown thousands of dollars, for it takes real money to train a man for an executive position. This kind of waste goes on unabated. We think the business fabric is shot through with a situation which might be helped by better understanding all around. Nearly every modern employer feels a moral responsibility for the well-being of his help, and he tries to meet these responsibilities. That he has not always done so for the alcoholic is easily understood. To him, the alcoholic has often seemed a fool of the first magnitude. Because of the employee's special ability, or of his own strong personal attachment to him, the employer has sometimes kept such a man at work long beyond a reasonable period. Some employers have tried every known remedy. In only a few instances has there been a lack of patience and tolerance. And we, who have imposed on the best of employers, can scarcely blame them if they have been short with us. Out of the 12 and 12 are on Tradition 7. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. And today we're on page 160. Self-supporting alcoholics? Who ever heard of such a thing? Yet we find that that's what we have to be. This principle is telling evidence of the profound change that AA has wrought in all of us. Everybody knows that active alcoholics scream that they have no troubles money can't cure. Always we've had our hands out. Time out of mind, we've been dependent upon somebody, usually money-wise. When a society composed entirely of alcoholics says that it's going to pay its bills, that's really news. Probably no AA tradition had the labor pains this one did. In early times, we were all broke. When you add to this the habitual supposition that people ought to give money to alcoholics trying to stay sober, it can be understood why we thought we deserved a pile of folding money. What great things AA would be able to do with it. But, oddly enough, people who had money thought otherwise. They figured that it was high time that we now, sober, paid our own way. So our fellowship stayed poor because it had to. There was another reason for our collective poverty. It was soon apparent that while alcoholics would spend lavishly on 12-step cases, they had a terrific aversion to dropping money into a meeting place hat for group purposes. We were astounded to find that we were as tight as the bark on a tree. So AA, the movement, started and stayed broke, while its individual members waxed prosperous. "24 hours a day, June 2nd. AA thought for the day. Some more things I do not miss since becoming dry. Wondering if the car is in the garage and how I got home. Struggling to remember where I was and what I did since my last conscious moment. Trying to delay getting off to work. And wondering how I will look when I get there. Dreading the day ahead of me. I'm quite sure that I don't miss these things. Am I not? Meditation for the day. You cannot believe in God and keep your selfish ways. The old self shrivels up and dies, and upon the reborn soul, God's image becomes stamped. The gradual elimination of selfishness and the growth of love for God and your fellow human beings is the goal of life. At first, you have only a faint likeness to the divine. But the picture grows and takes on more and more of the likeness of God until those who see you can see in you some of the power of God's grace at work in a human life. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may develop the faint likeness I have to the divine. I pray that others may see in me some of the power of God's grace at work. Daily Reflection, June 2nd. The Upward Path. Here are the steps we took. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 59. These are the words that lead into the 12 steps. In their direct simplicity, they sweep aside all psychological and philosophical considerations about the rightness of the steps. They describe what I did. I took the steps, and sobriety was the result. These words do not imply that I should walk the well-trodden path of those who went before, but there is a way for me to become sober, and that is the way that I shall have to find. It is a new path, one that leads to infinite light at the top of the mountain. The steps advise me about the footholds that are safe and about the chasms to avoid. They provide me with the tools that I need during many parts of the solitary journey of my soul. When I speak of this journey, I share my experience, strength, and hope with others. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading and some beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff as always. I love the 24 hours a day today. The meditation for the day, I had to reread it before I hopped back on here because it's so deep, it's so true. I'll go ahead and read it again. You cannot believe in God and keep your selfish ways. The old self shrivels up and dies, and upon the reborn soul, God's image becomes stamped. I guess this is the line that jumped out at me. The gradual elimination of selfishness. Okay, the word that jumps out of the page for me is gradual. It's not instantaneous for me. It's not like I said the 3rd step prayer and boom, or the 7th step prayer and boom, all these defects, they're gone. But I have seen progress in my life. It has been a gradual change, sometimes quickly, but sometimes slowly. But there's progress. It really hinges on daily maintenance. The gradual elimination of selfishness in the growth of love for God. So gradually the selfishness declines, the love for God grows, and then this part here, and your fellow human beings is the goal of life. Now, when I was drinking, I didn't care about anybody else. I mean, maybe a little, but if it got in the way of what I was doing, that was a problem. Now, I am more considerate of others, And I'm trying to make living amends to the ones I love the most for the rest of my life, And to grow more and more into the person that I believe God wanted me to be all along. So right here, this next line, at first, so maybe at the beginning of our recovery, you have only a faint likeness to the divine. So maybe it's just a spark at first, but hey, that spark leads to hope, right? But the picture grows and takes on more and more of the likeness of God. That's that spiritual awakening part for me. The more I do these things, the more and more I see God and want to experience Him. Until those who see you can see in you some of the power of God's grace at work in a human life. Now, I am going to be completely candid with you. I'm not good at taking compliments. I still bristle sometimes. It's an automatic response. I still bristle when somebody from my job says, "Hey, okay, I'll tell you one right now." And I'm embarrassed to even admit it. It feels unnatural for me to say it. But I had a coworker. It's been an emotional couple of weeks these last few weeks because I've had a job change, and I was so grateful for the relationships I built while I was there. And I didn't leave on bad terms. I left out of support for my wife, who was working in the same county as well. I just didn't feel right staying in the same county while she was leaving. So I left too, because we're a package deal, Anyway, so one of my last days, a coworker came up to me and said, "I don't think you realize how much you help others and how much of a light you are to the folks around you." And at first I shook my head like, "Lord," and I even said this like, "Hey, please don't put me on a pedestal. I'll let you down." But then I caught myself. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. It's not necessarily that she's bragging on me. Although that would boost my ego and I wouldn't be able to fit through the door. I think she's bragging on the light that's in me. That I didn't create. That my higher power has created. Has sparked, right? It says right here, the picture grows and takes on more and more of the likeness of God. Here it is. Until those who see you can see in you some of the power of God's grace. Not some of the power of Rob's grace. Some of the power of Rob, God's grace at work in a human life. So when somebody gives me a compliment like that, you know what I'm trying to do these days? I'm trying to thank the person. And if I see God in them, I really want to bring that out too and say, "Hey, I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, but you were really good at this X, Y, and Z. You've got a gift there. My higher power has used you to help me and so many others." So I'm not necessarily bragging on that person. I'm bragging on what God is doing through that person's life. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. But my friends, that's all we have time for today. I hope you all have a great one. If you are sober, I hope you know that you're a miracle. And those who love you are very proud of you. And you have a unique superpower to help the next suffering alcoholic. And if you're not sober, I hope you know that you're a miracle as well. Just the fact that you're alive today is a miracle. And you have the opportunity, this precious opportunity on June 2nd, 2026, this Tuesday, I think it's Tuesday, right? Yeah, Tuesday, to make that first step toward change. So I pray that you get the help that you need. And as always, my friends, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect, denomination, organization. I am just a drunk, joyful drunk in this lifeboat of recovery. Honored to be here another day. And if we were given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward See me right back here tomorrow.